we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting of the Brainerd School Board is being conducted in accordance with Minnesota Statutes 13D.02. This meeting is being live streamed. Access to the recording is available on the school district. Look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended. We did pull the financial audit off there for next month. Wasn't quite finished.
I will move to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead for a second, then I'll come in.
Are we gonna?
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Director Brecken, a second by Director Ward. Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would like to add 2 agenda items. I should have done that before you called for the motion, but they would be the following: discussion under new business. They would be the following: discussion on recruitment and retention of staff. And then the next one would be under new business, legislative action. So there's 2 items I would like to add to the agenda under new business.
All right, so Director Ward is making a motion to amend the amended agenda by adding a discussion on recruitment and retention of staff and legislative action. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion to amend the amended agenda from Director Ward to add the discussion on recruitment and retention and legislative action. We've got a second by Director Brecken. Any further discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
John, would you be amenable to 2 separate motions?
No problem.
In other words, a motion for one and a motion for another? Or,
Sure.
okay,
Okay, this is getting confusing now.
Why don't you make the motion, John? Make the
might
motion
be,
on the
yeah.
first one.
Yeah, let's go that route.
Okay, I'll move, I'd like to move to add to the agenda under new business, discussion on recruitment and retention of staff.
Okay, so we've got a motion to amend the amended agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Director Brecken is second. Any further discussion on the discussion of recruitment and retention of staff to be added to the amended agenda?
What are you looking for, John? I mean, is this more, do you think it's be better in a workshop, or no one's got a presentation ready, do they, Peter?
No.
So what are we gonna talk about? Just curiosity.
Yeah, I'd like to get a committee set up to work towards this, to talk about staff recruitment and retention. That would be my goal. And it absolutely can be a workshop, but I want to bring it up as an agenda item.
What's that?
Any further discussion?
Well, do you wanna change your motion that we form a committee? And then that could be the motion, and we could talk about it, and then we can vote on it, whether we wanna set up a committee or not. Does that make more sense than to just talk about
But it
it?
has to be, but doesn't it have to be an agenda item, Madam Chair?
I think that would be an agenda item either way. We'd make that amendment to the agenda right now to either add it as a discussion item or add it as an item to discuss having a committee. Either one of those would be in addition to the agenda.
John, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You're chair of the Personnel and Benefits Committee, correct?
Yes.
I think he is, isn't he?
No,
Where's DJ? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
no.
okay. Nope, that was just a question.
Yep.
Got my answer. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion on that amendment to the agenda?
No.
If not, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
DJ Dondelinger,
Yes.
Stephanie Etterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
No.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Al Brecken.
Yes.
5-1.
Okay, we'll add a new discussion item under new business to discuss the recruitment and retention of staff. Now we'll go back to the approval of the agenda, the amended agenda.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Director Ward.
I'd like to move that under new business again. I'd like to add, amend the agenda to add the following new business, legislative action discussion. Very important kind of deal. So legislative action discussion, that would be my agenda item.
All right, we've got a motion to add an agenda item for legislative action discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a motion by Director Ward, a second by Director Heidman. Any discussion?
What are we gonna talk about? Legislative action?
Yep,
We'll find out.
just some things that I think that need to be addressed with a short session. The session's done May 18th, and so there's a time crunch here, and there's some things that we need to, in my opinion, address or try to advocate for or whatever.
Thought we did.
I did too. I don't know what's going on.
All right, any further discussion? We'll do a roll call
Sure.
vote on the amendment.
We don't have a second, do we? Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Randy,
we do.
sorry.
Stephanie Etterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes,
Al Brecken,
Yes.
DJ Dondelinger,
Yeah, him too, yes. Come on here.
was that a yes?
Thank you, Kelly. All right, back to the agenda. We've got
I have a
two-
question.
Yep,
So those things we want to pull out of the consent agenda, do they need to be pulled now?
we can do that when we get to the consent
Okay.
agenda.
That sounds good.
Great question. All right, so,
Sure.
yes,
That'll be what, an action item under new business, correct?
yes, we will put both of those as action items under new business, so it'll be number 3 and
There we
number
go.
4.
Just wanted to make sure where we were.
Actually, probably, yeah,
Okay, good,
discussion items.
good.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. All right, back to the approval of the agenda as amended. It has the First Amendment that we came into this meeting with to remove the financial audit and the additional 2 amendments to the agenda to add the discussion items. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Actually, I take that back. We already had a motion and a second in place for that before we started down the other path. So we've got a motion by Director Brecken, a second by Director Wood. Any discussion on the agenda? All right, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
yes,
Al Brecken,
Yes.
DJ Dondelinger,
Yes.
Stephanie Etterman,
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. And we have an agenda. 10 minutes in, doing well. All right, we've got some recognitions here that I'll read through if you guys are okay with that, and then I'll ask Dr. Stelmach to come up and talk about the Math Masters ones at the end. So we'll start with congratulations to the following. The boys and girls Nordic ski teams both qualified for the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. The boys team took 9th place and the girls team took 10th place. Annalise Baird finished 4th place in pursuit and Owen Robertson finished 13th place in pursuit. Congratulations. The Warrior Dance team won the Section 4 AAA championship in both kick and jazz, as well as the Minnesota State High School League Class AAA state championships in both jazz and kick. Fantastic. And the Warrior Dance team coach Cindy Clow was named the Section 4 AAA Head Coach of the Year. The Warrior Wrestling team won the Section 8 AAA Team Championship. Individual qualifiers were Ari Picard, 5th place at state, Ariana Halbert, 6th place at state, Serenity Krebsbach, Jake Rodriguez, Ben Rodriguez, Easton Dirks, second place at state, William Dirks, Jackson Burhow, and Tice Faber. And the adapted floor hockey team won the MSHSL Adapted Floor Hockey PI State Championship. And the Warrior Knowledgeable team took third place at the section tournament and qualified for the state tournament. The boys swimming and diving team was crowned the Central Lakes Conference champions, individual state qualifiers in the 200 medley relay. Ninth place at state were Carter Dirks, Jack Tachi, Drew Hagelin, Bennett Day. In the 100 fly, Drew Hagelin. In the 200 free relay, 14th place at state, Grady Sumption, Bennett Day, Brooks Barachek, and Henry McCulley. In the 100 free, Bennett Day in 8th place at state. In the 400 relay, 14th place at state were Drew Hagelin, Brooks Barachek, Henry McCulley, and Bennett Day. And then thank you, Dr. Stelmach, for sharing with us about Math Masters.
You're welcome. So Math Masters began as a 5th grade math competition program back in 1989 with teams from 44 schools taking part. In 1995, the competition expanded to add 6th graders, and our 6th grade team went this year. That was the Friday before spring break. We've got some 5th grade teams who are going pretty soon as well to the 5th grade one. Back in 2022, 4th grade was added, and so I know that our elementaries, and from having been at Baxter, our elementaries often participate in the Math Masters as well for 4th grade. So this year there were approximately 500 students signed up for both the 5th and the 6th grade competition overall total. And we had 29 6th graders participate from Forest View. It's offered at several locations, and we went to the Sourcewell one, just it's less expensive to go close for busing and all of that. So receiving awards in the fact drill competition, we took 1st place, Marley Shaw and Everett Grahams, 3rd place, Ellen Anderson, 4th place, Delaney Jervey, 7th place, Hannah Larson, 8th place, Eva Rimza, and 9th place, Stella Vang and Carter Root. Receiving awards in the individual problem-solving competition, 1st place, Elm Anderson, 2nd place, Marley Shaw, 4th place, Ara Halsbersma, 5th place, Sullivan Brantley, 6th place, Everett Grahams, and 10th place, Eva Rimza. And then receiving awards in the team competition, there were 16 total teams there. We took both 1st and 2nd place. 1st place on our team, Marley Shaw, Kara Swanson, Everett Grahams, Anel Hadia, and Ara Halsbersma. And our 2nd place team, Ellen Anderson, Sullivan Brantley, Emmeline Smith, Stella Vang, and Ruby Shaw. These students worked hard, practiced a lot to get ready. And Mr. Lane Danielson, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that he was the staff member who took on the coaching of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have public input. A member of the public can address the board during this time. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Complaints or allegations against students or employees may not be discussed due to data privacy. Complaints or allegations must be submitted in writing to Superintendent Grant. The Board of Education and or superintendent will not converse with guests to address the topics discussed at that time. And up first, we have Doug Kern, please.
Wasn't expecting that quick. Yeah, good evening. I would have brought this to the last school board meeting, but I thought it was a special meeting with no public input. And I was surprised that there was public input. And I know Director Ward, kind of threw it off a little bit. One of the things that I'm concerned about was, I would have brought this up before, the ICE walkout, the ICE protest that they had. I want to see this school succeed. I want to see, it may not seem like that sometimes, but I want to see our teachers be, the retention like John's talking about later. I want to see them want to be here and want to stay here. When I had the IT department, they ran a ICE protest. I did a data request, 1,279 records just for the word ICE protest. Now, that's inter-office memos that are going back and forth. They say it was student-led. I'm concerned that it wasn't student-led, because the students around the state, there's no way that they could link together like that without help. Anyway, that I was just really disappointed that there was public comment last time around on February 10th. Just that ICE walkout, you know, to know that the students were down the street with no supervision. At least that's what I was told. There was no supervision. I don't know if they were considered tardy, if their parents were notified that they left, anything concerning the safety of the students. That's a big concern. It's a big concern. Anyway, I'll move on with that. There's historical facts about tribal land. I'll just read this real quick. I learned North American history. My teacher was Reginald Meade. I'll never forget Reginald Meade. He taught me all about North American history. You know, you're going to have some people talking about APAC. I think that's what it's called. And here's what I learned. You know, when we were in school, we had to learn from Mexico all the way to Alaska, where all the tribes dwelled, where they all were, from the Cree to the Shawnee to you name it, the Sioux, the Chippewa. Here's something that I learned from Reginald Meade. The Sioux took the lands from the Cheyenne, who took it from the Kiowa, I might pronounce the names wrong, who took it from the Pawnee, who took it from the Crow, who took it from the Arika. Minnesota was taken by the Ojibwa from the Sioux. The victors not only took their land, they also enslaved their enemies. The Battle of Cross Lake was one of those historical things that I think every student in Minnesota, at least in this area, should know about, the Battle of Cross Lake. And I would venture to guess that you wouldn't find a student in Brainerd High School that would know about the Battle of Cross Lake. And, you know, I just was so into history, but by the way that the teacher presented history. And it was just, I really think that, you know, we have to understand that North American history did not start with the Vikings or Columbus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Sarah Rhoda, please.
Hello, my name is Sarah Rhoda. I am an educational assistant. I was hired in 2009 and have worked at BHS the entire time. For the last 5 years, I have had the honor to serve as president of the Educational Assistants Union. I have sat in the chairs behind me for nearly every board meeting. The last time I spoke was when our contract was brought to the board for approval in 2023. I am not here to talk about the fact that the EAs are currently working without a contract that ended in June of 2025. The district and our union are currently in mediation, and it is my hope that an agreement can be reached that is fair and equitable to all parties. What I am here to talk about is something that has been weighing on my heart ever since the budget cuts, operating levies, voting or not voting, has been discussed in this boardroom and in public forums. I consider myself an intelligent person. I understand hard choices have to be made. But what I cannot understand is why it seems like we are trying to balance the budget off the backs of the people that make the least and care for the most vulnerable at our school. Educational assistants care for students from birth to 21. We provide support with physical care, feeding, dressing, toileting, and mobility. We provide academic support, assisting teachers and to individual students. We provide emotional support. We give hugs, shoulders to cry on, and high fives. We cheer victories, and we support students when things don't go as planned. We provide physical security. We check bathrooms for vaping. We diffuse situations before things get volatile. We put ourselves in harm's way more often than we care to admit. We provide discipline support through hallway duty, playground duty, and various types of detention. We provide vocational support, assisting students in school-based vocational programs such as the Warrior Outlet. Why do we do this job? I ask myself that on a fairly regular basis. The hours are pretty good, there's no nights and weekends, and most of us don't do a lot of heavy lifting, unless you count squirming toddlers or wheelchair transfers. The benefits are also decent. We earn sick time and we have personal days. We have access to health insurance that is not bad, but we do pay for it. For example, Family Plan C is $368 per paycheck, and the average pay is $16 to $18 an hour. Why do we do it? We do it for the kids. We like the kids. We like them when they're good, and we like them when they're challenging. We love to see them grow and change. We love to see the challenging behaviors get a little bit less challenging over time. The educational assistants and nurses are covered by the same contract. We care for the most vulnerable and often the most marginalized in the school community. Parents hand their most precious thing, their child, over to us every day. Parents of special needs children go a little bit further. They hand us their little person, often fragile, often misunderstood, for us to care for 7 hours. The works of nurses and educational assistants are acts of service. All of this brings to mind from the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40, when Jesus said, "Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me." An act of service shown to the poor, marginalized, or vulnerable are directly recognized as an act of service to God. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Laura Paulson, please.
Good evening. My name is Laura Paulson. I've worked at Riverside Elementary since 2015. I've been working without a contract since July 1st. I quit my job as an accountant to go back to school and try to help change the world, one small child at a time. I'm nervous to sit and speak before you, but it's time for more people to find their voice and show you our concerns. Both of my children graduated from BHS, and we actually open enrolled into the district. We were supposed to be at Pillager, but this district met the needs of my children. My daughter graduated from BHS, and she's pursuing her nursing degree with dreams of becoming a nurse anesthetist because of this district. This district met the needs for her by helping her with music and dedication through sports. She has a hard work ethic. She supports herself as a 21-year-old. My son started out in the level 3 autism program, and each and every year had a large team of certified staff and support staff encouraging him to do hard things. When he was little, I'm not sure what his future was. I didn't know if he would read. I didn't know if he would drive. I didn't know if he would be with his peers. I could never say thank you enough to the amazing people who transformed him into the successful young man he is now. Many of those people are sitting behind me right now. Paul Bunyan Cooperative also played a huge part in this. He's on the dean's list at CLC. He bought a car with the cash he earned at Mickey's, working for 4 years. He got a loan. He paid for another car. He now has the confidence to continue his educational path. I sit here before you today as a tired, some days broken teacher who's overwhelmed, overworked, and underpaid. Class sizes have dramatically increased, which correlates to increased behaviors. They have limited consequences right now. It impacts not only myself, my coworkers, and my students. I never thought I'd have to lock a door to keep students out of my classroom. I never thought I'd have to find alternative routes within our school, on the playground, in different hallways, just to keep my students safe and shielded from the behaviors and inappropriate language for 6 and 7-year-olds. I never thought I'd have to make a child wait to use the bathroom for 10 minutes so another adult could help them, escort them 10 feet from my doorway. I never thought that this would be what education would come to in the Brainerd School District. The next passage was written by an anonymous educator, and it speaks volumes about what all educators in our district feel. Teachers are expected to break quietly. Teachers are the only ones expected to absorb dysfunction and call it dedication. No curriculum? Figure it out. No support? Figure it out. Behavior out of control? Build some relationships. Test scores down? Oh, work harder. Be creative. Funding cut? Be creative. Parents upset? You need to be professional. You are expected to stretch, shrink, sacrifice, and smile. And if you finally say this isn't sustainable, nobody wants to listen. They'll tell you to remember your why. This is too much. This isn't fair. This isn't how a career should feel. We are not selfish for wanting stability, respect, pay that reflects our skills, a life that doesn't revolve around surviving on a Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next we have Misha Ukes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Misha? Maybe. It might be Michael Erickson. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, I should have gotten that. Thank you.
Sorry. Usually my writing's better than that.
No, it's my reading.
Okay. I'm here to speak in behalf of the APAC stuff. I know you're going to do a report on it later. Basically, what I want to bring up is a few things. For you and I guess the general public, I want to just talk. Have you ever been followed in a store, been accused of theft, pulled over for no apparent reason by the police? I have, and it wasn't because I was drunk. Okay, I have, and it's because of the color of my skin. And for most of your students that look different, they will experience something like that. And especially your Native American students. So that's why many of the things that the APAC group are pushing for, discipline, safety, attendance issues, are so important to them. Because those are the kind of issues that will help you and help them make sure that hopefully those students will become successful. Okay? And that's kind of the bottom line. You know, we want our kids to be successful, but the reality is kids that are Black, Indigenous, people of color, they are not successful. They struggle. All people are not equal because we do not treat them equally. That's the bottom line. We do not treat all people equally. At one point in my career, I had the pleasure of running an Indian education program in International Falls, working with APAC, school board members, parents, teachers. Kids were always the best. We had board members on our APAC committee. I understand Stephanie was supposed to be on the committee. My understanding is she has not went to a meeting this year. That's a disappointment. The board needs to be involved in those kind of things. Another thing that the board needs to realize, and the teachers need to realize, is in Indigenous communities, a vast majority of Indigenous communities, they are matriarchal, which is different than Caucasian communities, okay? Indigenous communities are matriarchal, which doesn't necessarily mean that they run the show, but they're at least equal. Okay, so that the power structure is an equal power structure. Okay, so it's not male-dominated. Okay,
Thank you, Michael.
okay, thanks.
Up next, we have Tim Ettinger, please.
Superintendent Grant and members of the school board. My name is Tim Ettinger and I live in Nisswa. I've lived in the Brainerd School District for 35 plus years and I'm a retired public school teacher who taught for 34 years. I truly wish I wasn't here tonight. I tried to shine a historic light on your course of action this past summer, but several of you didn't listen and our school district is mired in a mess that possibly could have been avoided. However, in several ways, things are even worse than I had predicted. Watching the last school board meeting for the first time since I took a teaching position in Brainerd, I believe I witnessed the school board and admin attempting to influence contract negotiations publicly at a school board meeting. Whether or not it meets the legal threshold for bargaining in public or an unfair labor practice will be resolved. Regardless, it was a thinly veiled attempt to sway public opinion as to the district's position in a mediation process that is required to be closed. Any attempt by a person in a position of power to influence employees or the public regarding closed contract mediation is at best a horrible mistake and at worst extremely unethical. The only contact regarding mediation between the district and employees should be through the mediation process itself. Second, there is also an ongoing attempt, in my opinion, to villainize our school district's employees. Employees who've been asked to do more with less for more than 25 years. They didn't go into public education to get rich. On several occasions in the past, these hardworking employees traded salary for benefits in bargaining. And now somehow that's not acceptable. Regarding PTO, that was brought to the bargaining table by administration, not employees. It seems to be totally unfair to me to villainize employees for the actions of previous administrations supported and/or advanced. The aforementioned actions are not examples of honorable discourse in the workplace. More than 80% of Minnesota school districts report shortages of licensed teachers and substitutes. The mantra in teacher training programs for decades has been, you won't get rich, but you can count on good benefits. Good luck finding teachers to replace those who will retire or move elsewhere if leadership is going to continue to disrespect employees unethically. Maybe instead attention could be given to traditional public data based on historic timelines in the district. Aren't the school district financial reports such as the audit later than is typical?
Thank you. All right, we will move on to the approval of minutes. We have 3 meetings worth of minutes there to approve. We'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We've got a motion by Director Edelman and a second by Director Brecken. Any discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Al Brecken,
Yes.
PJ Donelayer,
Yes.
Stephanie Fetterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. We'll move on to the consent calendar.
So how's that work? Do we gonna, I'd like to pull a few things out of it.
Yep.
So let's pull the spending deal for the BHF roof replacement down to the Riverside HVAC.
Okay.
And then policy 602 and 712. And so where do they go? Do they go in new business?
Yep, we'll put them at the end of new business. So would you like to have the roof replacements and the HVAC as one item or separate?
They can be one item.
Okay, that says one item, and then we'll take 602 and 712 individually.
So is the reason just because we want some discussion on those specific
Yeah,
items?
I think so.
Okay.
Which we could do it right away if you want.
You're pulling Harrison too?
I think we should pull all 3 of the spending things.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about Harrison, that's all. That's why I'm inquiring only.
So can you tell me which ones we're pulling again?
You got the,
Harrison, BHS,
yeah.
2 of them in Riverside. There's 4 different,
Oh, roof replacement?
Yep.
Okay. Riverside, yeah. We're pulling them, but we're going to discuss them.
At the
Yeah.
bottom, as their own individual.
We'll approve them
item.
individually.
Okay, so I have 3.
There's 4.
there's 4.
What's the 4th one?
Well, the BHS one is.
BHS is, there's
Go to
2
the next page.
contracts within BHS.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. See, BHS has got
Oh,
2.
1 and 2, okay.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And then policies numbers 602 and 712.
Okay.
That makes sense, Kelly. So that will be item 5, 6, and 7 under new business.
All right,
All right.
so I'll make a motion to approve the rest.
Got a motion by Director Dondelinger,
I'll second it.
second by Director Edelman. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we always look at the donor kind of deal, or I do anyhow, and I'm appreciative of everybody that gives to our kids. And this month in particular, members, board members, the Brainerd Sports Boosters and the Baxter PTO have significant givings this month. And so we're appreciative of all people that give, but when we get large ones like that, I like to call them out separately and thank them individually. So just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, if there's no further discussion, we'll look for a roll call vote, please.
John Ward,
Yes.
Bob Bracken,
Yes.
DJ Donley,
Yes.
Stephanie Fetterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear.
Yes. We'll move on to, under old business for action, we have the nomination and election of officers for this year. We'll look for nominations for chairperson.
Yeah.
I'm going to nominate Sarah Spear to be the chairperson.
I'm going to nominate, DJ Donlin for chair.
Any further nominations? Any further nominations?
Madam Chair? Madam, go ahead, Madam Chair.
I was just going to call for the third time for nominations, just to
Yep.
books. Any further nominations? All right. We have.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Director Ward.
So, to me, this is, we're coming in with a new superintendent and some, new folks, and I want to be able to find out, I want to ask some questions of each nominee. And I don't, when can I do that prior to a vote?
Well, we're just about to take a vote, so this would be the best time.
Okay. I think it's imperative that our new chair, or our chairperson, strongly support an operating levy. So I'd like each nominee to tell how they feel about an operating levy moving forward and the support they'll have for it.
You want to go first or me too?
Go ahead.
Well, John, that's a loaded question. You dirty dog.
Sorry, I don't feel loaded, but okay.
Here's the deal. Imagine that. Here's what I think about the operating levy. I think that there's a lot of stuff we need to clean up around here. And it's not it would be an operating levy, wouldn't it? Yeah. And if we got that down and kind of got our housekeeping done in the Brainerd School District, and we could go out and go for an operating levy that we could be proud of, that would improve the situation in class sizes and EAs and curriculum, where we could start to get back to the winning ways of the Brainerd School District that I enjoyed going to school here, and so did my children and my parents. I'd be all about getting on board with a operating levy. But the way things are today, I'd have to say we have a little more work to do. So I guess that's about as good as I can give you.
Thank you.
Director Ward, I would say my support is not conditional. I think that education is underfunded from the federal to the state, all the way down. And if we have an opportunity to change that, it's a no-brainer to me. I think there's a lot we could do in our education system here locally. We don't need to struggle the way that we do if we were to fund education the way we fund lots of other things in this country, in this state, and in this district. And it's a no-brainer for me.
Thank you.
Especially
Madam
as
Chair,
the one that serves on a public school board. I am in favor of everything we can win for a school. And I would also say, to Director Dondelinger's point, yes, we do need to be very fiscally responsible, and it's a both and. It's not one or the other.
Madam Chair, I have a follow-up question for each of you. And it's, in my opinion, DJ, I'm sorry you feel they're loaded questions, but they're not. They're very important to me and to a lot of other people in this district. So my question to both DJ and Sarah would be, what would be your, how would you handle working with a new superintendent, with our new superintendent, and as a board chair on issues that you know will be contentious with the school board members?
Want me to start?
Sure. I don't understand the question, really.
I think what you're asking is, would we still put it on the agenda if it was contentious? Am I reading that right, Director Ward?
I'm talking about your relationship, not an agenda item, not an agenda situation. I'm talking about your leadership as the chair of the board, with knowing the board might not agree with issues that the superintendent wants to do or project. Your relationship with the superintendent. Are you going to be a rubber stamp, or are you going to stand up for what you think?
That is a loaded question.
And that might be a loaded question to you, DJ.
You know what
I
I'm
would-
gonna do? I'm gonna stand up for what I think. I do think, though, that if you're gonna have to support the superintendent. If the superintendent wants something on the agenda, I don't see how you stop them. I think it should go on the agenda and we should all talk about it. I don't think that being the chairman is like a way to stifle other opinions that aren't yours. I mean, I don't think that's part of the job.
I wish it was, but. I'm just kidding. The other thing I would say is, because I agree with you, DJ, that the board has one employee, and that's the superintendent. And our job as a board is to make sure he's successful, has what he needs, and trusts his recommendations and expertise. I've always heard trust and validate, and I think that's fair, and I would ask that whoever's in the superintendent position would do the same of the board. So I think it has, if it's successful, there has to be trust and support, that there's going to be transparency and honesty in that situation.
Thank you both. I appreciate the fact that you're both willing to step up and be leadership for the board and represent the board. I'm not sure why you want to do that, but thank you for doing it.
And I'll be there.
Any further discussion? All right, we've got 2 nominations for the position of chair. We'll take a roll call. Please name the person you would like to see in that position as your answer to roll call, please.
Michelle Brecken,
Sarah Spear.
DJ Dunleer,
DJ.
Stephanie Utterman,
DJ.
Randy Heidman,
Director Donnelly.
Sarah Spear,
Sarah.
John Ward.
Sarah.
We
Are tied again.
are tied again. We will see you all next month for
I don't
this
think we can do that.
same discussion.
I don't think we can keep putting this off.
We can.
It's supposed to be done in January.
All right, we will move on to new business for action. We've got the approval of literacy resource as presented by Dr. Melissa Cornea, Guy Kelm, and Blake Alholm. Welcome, thank you for joining us.
Be patient.
Yes.
Blake, do you want this one?
Hi all, thank you for having us this evening. I first want to start with just recognizing how much each of you gives to Brainerd Public Schools, and we're excited to sit in front of you as a partner for our warriors and move K-4 literacy forward towards how we can best serve our warriors. I sit beside you, or sitting beside me are my colleagues.
I'm Guy Kelm. I teach 2nd grade at Harrison.
Blake Alholm, 2nd grade at Baxter.
And I'm Melissa Cornea, K-12 Literacy and Humanities Coordinator. We come to you on behalf of 2 different teams. The steering team, they were an integral part of our journey here. So what we're going to bring to you is our recommendation for the K-4 resource for Tier 1 literacy. So every kid, every day across Tier 1 for K-4 literacy. The steering team is the team that truly led the decision-making based on teacher input. So the steering team was 7 teachers from 5 of our elementaries, including special education, every grade level represented, 2 elementary principals, the director of teaching and learning, executive director, and myself. This K4 Literacy Task Force started this summer, started with 13 teachers across all, actually K6, and then it grew this fall to 28 teachers across all elementary schools and all grade levels. And so we're coming to you. Our charge this summer was guaranteed and viable curriculum. So that idea of every kid, every class, every day has access to the Minnesota grade level benchmarks through what we know about best instruction. So our journey started, I've sat here before, our journey started way back last year with OLA, 300 educators coming together to learn about structured literacy, what we know is best practice to impact reading and writing development. What we then did last summer is we brought that team of 13 together and we looked at Minnesota grade level benchmarks next to what we learned through OLA about what is best instruction. And we made recommendations of these are the learning experiences our students need. After doing that work, we looked at our current resources, our current K4 resources, and determined that we truly need a new route when it comes to the resource for our K4 literacy at that tier 1 level. This fall, we knew that our kids couldn't wait. Our kids needed best instruction right now. We needed to shift our instruction towards OLA this past fall. And the teachers, they did it. They did the work, they championed it, and truly putting in hours that ideally a resource can provide so that they can work to be responsive instead of just the creation mode. So that was this fall, was putting those recommendations into practice as that team of 28 weighed in on the resources that were available. So we started with MDE's list. So MDE, they did the work over the past years of looking at different resources. First, they said, is this even aligned to what we know research says about the science of reading and writing? If it's not aligned, then it's not even going to be on the table. If it was aligned, then they did a very extensive rubric. That rubric determined highly aligned, partially aligned, minimally aligned. So what we did, if you look there then at November, we had our team of 28 teachers weigh in from that list. So we already narrowed it down to the 17. Those teachers, K4, they weighed in. That then moved to the steering team of 7. So the steering team, they looked at the input. There's 2 types of input. What should we consider for resources? And what needs do you have as a grade level? From that, the steering team narrowed it down to about 8. From 8, we narrowed it down again to 4. From 4, we narrowed it down to 2. Again, just kind of going through that thorough process of, is it aligned to Minnesota grade level benchmarks? Is it aligned to structured literacy, what we know as best instruction? Does it align to our needs? Our needs were K4 vertical alignment, so that there aren't discrepancies as students move to different grades. We also wanted comprehensive, so the idea of reading and writing, they're not siloed. Or phonics and comprehension, they're not siloed, but instead, the literacy block feels like a cohesive literacy experience. From there, we narrowed it down to the 2. The 2 then we put back in front of our teachers. So we gave them samples of both. We gave them online access to both. We then had grade level conversations. So they came together, for example, it's a 2nd grade on February 13th, that PD day. And every teacher had the opportunity to provide input on those 2. That then went back to the steering team using their input, using all of the hours of work before that, were able to come to consensus on the resource that you see below there, Emerge. Emerge was resoundingly the resource that all teachers weighed in and saw this meets the need for my grade level, this meets grade level benchmarks, this meets structured literacy. The hope then is upon your approval, we can start moving into professional development that helps us move into implementation for next year. So going to briefly talk about Emerge and 3 of the highlights based on the needs that were important to our teachers.
So what I'll get into next is the idea of structured literacy and why we're doing this. So this is a roadmap of what we learned from the science of reading, and we learned that structured literacy is best practice. And when you think of this resource, you think of the who. This is guaranteeing that no matter what tier you're in, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, that you're getting the same high quality instruction. If you look at the what side on the left there, those are the components of structured literacy. And when we looked at our curriculum, we looked for that existing in Emerge. When you look over at the how, that is how are the teachers delivering that information. So yeah, like when we were selecting this resource, we used this structured literacy diagram to determine if we felt Emerge held up strong, and we feel that way. It contains all the principles of literacy, and it is also very teacher friendly and student engaging, and we feel strongly that it is doing right by kids and is best practice when we look at the structured literacy components.
And then looking a little closer to the curriculum, you'll see how the curriculum goes from K to 4. If you look at the first box on the left, K1, you'll notice more foundational skills, more time for foundational skills, building and comprehension skills, than some group focus. And as you see 2 to 5, it branches off away from foundational skills because at that time they should have most of those in place, and those would only come into play if they needed more work in a smaller study group. And so this curriculum really addresses the different ways students learn and expectations at each grade level. The dashboard on the right shows something that we were pretty impressed with, is that we're getting real-time data. So if you're doing an assessment or a quick intervention, you can plug that right into the computer, and it gives you groupings, it gives you things that you should be doing next time with this group or with an individual, which we don't have right now, and most of the curriculums didn't show that. So that's a tool that I know we're going to use a lot just to guide our instruction.
So structured literacy, aligned to structured literacy, it's teacher friendly. And then we know that it's all about our students. So it is highly engaging for our students. Every student, that's the key with structured literacy, is how are you making sure that every student is engaged in the learning right then and there. But then the other key part is, as students are actively engaged, how do we as teachers monitor that learning and give immediate feedback or immediately correct course based on our assessing real time?
And so one of the tools that will be used, and I just want to show the difference between K to 4, are these response boards. You meet when your whole group up on the rug or at your desks, and you have the sound box for K working into word structure down here, whereas it goes into second, third, more into syllable boxes. But then you'll notice on the 4th grade one, it's mainly about sentence structure and writing paragraphs, things like that, so it's more room for that. On the back, we start with basic handwriting with a penmanship there, and then cursive, second on up for cursive. So it covers, and handwriting also includes this curriculum, which has not usually been something that we've seen. We also had to do an outside support for that. So it's nice that it's embedded right with everything. We don't have to grab another tool to say, oh, now I've got to do this. It's embedded, and again, these are quick response boards so that if we're teaching, you have them show the board, see who's struggling, who's getting it, and you might keep a few kids back on the rug, let those go work, and you're like, hey, let's work on this again. It's a quick way to see it instead of always doing a paper pencil assessment and going, well, I'll get that later. It's right now in the moment of teaching.
Another piece of that, you have the student companion. So every student will get this for each unit. If you look up on the screen, there's some pictures of examples of what each page looks like. There's things for decodables. So when we're working on phonics skills, there's things for that. And when we go to that knowledge building and building that comprehension piece, they're responding to questions. They're doing writing responses to questions, and then they're building their writing skills in there as well. I think as educators, what excites us the most about this is the student application piece. When we think about student engagement, kids need to be doing things when we're instructing. You think of that we go, where I'm instructing, they're also applying their learning right then and there instead of doing it independently, and that's where we kind of miss some things. But if they're actively participating in the instruction when we're giving it, we can kind of, like we said, we can go back, fix things right then and there. And when kids are participating in their learning, they're picking it up much more effectively, if that makes sense. So the student application piece in these student companions really excites us because it requires kids to actively learn while they're learning from us as well.
You can see that difference too of the kinder compared to second compared to fourth. So again, that what we needed was we needed something that, although it could be one resource that was vertically aligned, it was ultimately developmentally appropriate. How do we do best by our kindergartners? How do we do best by our fourth graders and every year in between? Ultimately, we come back to this quote again and again from Dr. Louisa Moats. She's an expert in literacy. The different, for example, OLA, there was OLA, but then there were two other programs we could have gone with. She's the author of one of the other programs, Letters. And for her to say that it is not about programs, it is about our teachers, again and again, we are here to promote and to request that Emerge be adopted as our K-4 literacy. And the power is the people, that our teachers, the work that they put into this. I calculated it, it's almost 1,700 hours, not including OLA, that this team of educators have put into this work. And ultimately, it is the teachers who also stand behind us that we are excited to continue to champion and give them the resource that's teacher-friendly, student engaging, and aligned to structured literacy. So we want to open it up to questions now.
Well, I just want to say thank you for doing all this. So with the merge, what kind of results have they had, has other school districts previously had when they've gone to this curriculum?
So it is, publication date, I believe, is 2027. So it's in the midst of different like piloting and those types of moves.
It's a brand new program that's coming out, is that what you're saying?
It's so it's from McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill was Wonders before that. So if you look at the research of Wonders, you can go to Ed Report, you can go to the Reading League, third-party reports that you're going to see that they had a track record of impact. What we know with structured literacy is with Emerge, it's not even a revamp. They truly started from structured literacy. So they didn't start from Wonders, they started from structured literacy and built from there. So that idea of what we did is we looked at everything Wonders and we held everything Wonders up to what we saw in Emerge and checked for, does it have all the good it's supposed to have from Wonders, and does it have those pieces that we know through OLA it should have?
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Director Ward.
So, Melissa, Guy, and Blake, thank you for your hard work, just like Director Ederman said. I understand there was a team of 28 that put in about 1,700 hours. And I really like to see at the all grades example, from the phonetic kind of, we've always been, a lot of us have been talking about improving our phonetics, a system within our reading. So number one, this really does improve our reading phonetic programming, correct?
Yes, it does. So according to the framework and benchmark from the state standards and the training we had, the foundational skills, we've worked on a lot over the past years. And before this, curriculums weren't really putting that in as much. They had veered away from it, but we knew it was such a need we had, so we had to look at that in every resource. So you'll notice that the foundational skills are quite strong for every grade level, and it really grows well through K4. Yes.
And maybe to
Thank you.
Maybe to kind of make sure everyone's on the same page there. I don't know if it's in our second grade book, but yep, here I see it. So what I think of with what Director Ward is saying is the idea of words are made of sounds, right? And so those sounds then are represented by letters, and that's the work that especially K1, that's the work that they are trying to figure out is they know a cat, right? And they can see a cat, then they know the word cat, but now they need to figure out at, right? And they have to start to associate that with sounds. So that idea of you have the phonics and you have phonemic awareness. This is a second grade book. By second grade, they shouldn't, what research shows is that they shouldn't need solely instruction on sounds. They should be moving into more complex spelling patterns, but it's built in here in case that teacher needs to tap into it. We also use it at the start of a phonics lesson of, so for example, change need, the E to, oh man, it's probably a bad example. That was a bad example, but that's an example of, right?
Change E to
There you perfect, right? And so you have that idea of getting even second graders to manipulate sounds, but then they're going to start to tap into EE versus ER, but even IR can sound like nerd, right? And so that was something that was important to us, was that any resource, if it's going to be a K-4 resource, it had to hold up on that foundational level for our kinder, first, second grade.
Madam Chair, one more question. I know that the 28 team members had a consensus on this selection. The other multiple staff that we have, do you have any kind of feedback from the other staff in the district as far as this programming?
So what we did was when we brought the resource out to teachers, they had a feedback form that they could fill out. So every teacher had the opportunity to have their voice heard. And then what we did as the group of 28 was, or as the steering team, we looked at that feedback and saw a consensus towards a merge as well. So even though they weren't a group of the 28, all teachers' voices were heard at some point, to a different degree, but at some point every elementary teacher's voice was heard.
So we heard from.
Thank you.
We heard from every grade level team across all 6 elementaries, that once we figured out who was there on February 13th, the form was anonymous, but we were able to say like, yep, everyone is represented here. When we looked at the feedback, it was glaring that with the merge, they could name structured literacy, that evidence-based practice. They could name it more easily. They could talk about it for their grade level, and speak to it very clearly with the merge.
Thank you. So the level of support seems to be very strong, which is very important as well. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Director Donnellinger and a second by Director Ward. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I'm so impressed with you guys and the work that you put in. Unbelievable. And it came from the ground up, not top down. Teachers were listened to. They're the ones that are going to do the work. And man, you guys put in a lot of work. I mean, the presentation that you gave at DAC and just the stuff, I mean, this is so incredibly important, and you took the time and you got people involved. Good job, very good job, all three of you, and getting everyone involved. It's probably wasn't easy sometimes, and thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. So I love that they're getting a paper book, and I love that they're gonna start learning cursive, and writing and reading goes hand in hand, so thank you very much.
Thank you for evaluating this and finding the best tool for us. And I'm so glad that there are books and curriculum out there like this that have done the hard work of getting to it right away so that there are good resources for us. So this is fantastic.
When will the teachers get started? Will it be in the fall or maybe sooner?
You all saying yes I have a meeting with Christina on Thursday, and we have our next in-service day is April 6th. So our hope is with a yes from all of you that we can get teachers wrapping their brains around it as soon as possible.
Great.
Well, I think, don't you have something else to say about the cost of this curriculum?
I do. It came in under budget.
Yes.
So
That was good.
So Yes, we did not want to put anything in front of our teachers that we could not move forward. And luckily both happened that this is the best of the best. This is what our students need, and it is under budget.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, we've
Great work.
got a motion on the table. There's no further discussion? No. We'll do a roll call vote.
TJ Donahue,
Yes.
Stephanie Etterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Absolutely, yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
120% yes.
Michelle Brecken.
130%, yes.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
you guys.
Thank you.
We have the approval of the resolution for the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. Vote on non-concurrence, our response as a school board. And Superintendent Grant has that for us tonight.
Thank you. The Brainerd Public School Board of Education proposes the following in response to the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee in its vote of non-concurrence. So to the American Advisory Committee, APAC members, in response to the APAC recommendations, we offer the following. Recommendation number 1 was, how many times throughout the year is student attendance information provided by race or ethnicity? Our response, student attendance is monitored throughout the school year. Regardless of race or ethnicity, data collection is stored in the Skyward Student Database. Depending how families register their children, the district cannot request or ask about ethnicity or race. There are 3 ways parents, guardians, or students typically identify their indigenous identity: ethnic and racial demographic form, A Title VI ED 506 Indian Student Eligibility Certification Form, and the Johnson O'Malley Program Certification Form. Thus, when the Minnesota Department of Education requests student data, the district reports the information according to the registration process. Data reflecting race or ethnicity is reported to MDE through the MARS reporting module. Recommendation number 2, how is Indigenous Americans discipline tracked? Our response, tracking of all student discipline is kept in the Skyward database. Depending on the registration process completed by parents, guardians, tracking discipline by race or ethnicity can only be accomplished by the registration process. All of this data is reported to MDE through the MARS program. Recommendation number 3, does the district and school staff attend and support local community events along with engaging in the Indigenous community organizations? Response, the district does not have requirements for employees to attend local events, local community events, or those even sponsored by the Indigenous community. The district does encourage its employees to be active within the community, which could be inclusive of the Indigenous community. A great many employees are quite active in the communities. And recommendation number 4, does the district monitor or seek Indigenous American student satisfaction ratings of the schools? Our response is student satisfaction surveys. Monitoring is managed in different surveys throughout the school year. Student satisfaction is not scientific in determining racial or ethnicity satisfaction, as students are not asked to identify their race or ethnicity. Grade level and gender identification is typically requested of students in surveys. The only survey that would seek specific identification would be the Minnesota Student Survey, which is provided as an opt-in or opt-out every 3 years for specific grade levels. That data is then reported back to school districts in the following fall.
Thank you. All right, we'll look for a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make it.
Second.
We've got a motion by Director Edelman, a second by Director Ward. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Stephanie Etterman,
Yes.
Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Michelle Brecken,
Yes.
TJ Donahue,
Yes.
Variance.
Thank you. All right, we will move to the additions that were added to the agenda. Number 1, a discussion on recruitment and retention of staff.
So thank you, board members, for agreeing to just talk about this for right now. I want to give you some factual information. Annually, 8% of our educators, 8% of our educators in the United States leave the profession. That's 270,000 teachers or staffer every year. And by the way, I'm talking about all staff. I'm not talking about just educators. The last 10 years, there's been some of the highest turnover in education that we have ever had. In the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years, there looks to be another 35 to 50% of teachers and staff, educational staff, that are saying, I can't do this anymore. Less than 20% of the people leaving are due to retirement. So that means that means 80% of the people that are leaving is due to something else. So recruitment and retention, in my opinion, just like we talk about losing students, is critical. Is critical, and I think, and you know, we in ISD 181, you know, have lost staff both through retirement and through other reasons. And I think it's about time that we address it and do it along with our students' decline, as my colleagues have so eloquently pointed out almost every meeting. I think it's time that we also talk about what recruitment and retention of staff could and should look like. So I would like to see, Madam Chair and colleagues, some type of an ad hoc committee. By the way, I had an opportunity to, down here in Florida, talk to a first grade teacher out of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. And this young lady was just a dynamic young lady, bubbly, and, you know, just the kind of elementary teacher that you'd love to have in your district. She's been doing it for 10 years in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. She said her first 5 years were wonderful, were just great. Things were awesome. She just was loving the profession. The last 5 years, not so much. We've heard that tonight in our public comments also, my colleagues. We've heard from a number of people that came to the podium tonight that talked about recruitment and retention of educators and all staff, educational staff. So, Madam Chair, I would like to propose that either at a workshop or even tonight, that we set up an ad hoc committee to study and come up with some ideas, some suggestions, some whatever on retention, recruitment and retention of our staff. And by the way, the other thing that I think is very, very important, and I'm glad to see so many people in the audience tonight in a variety of venues, a variety of feelings, a variety of interests. This has to be a cooperative dialogue with management and labor, period. And we as a community need to have that dialogue as well. So I'm not putting this on anybody, it's on all of us. And so if I can, Madam Chair, I'd like to, I'm not sure how we would set up an ad hoc committee, but I'd like to at least somehow start studying it and maybe even through a work session. So let's just discuss it for a minute or whatever. I'll stop for now and listen to you guys.
I'd like to put it in a workshop.
I think that makes sense. I'm wondering, Director Ward, maybe either you or maybe somebody else, one of our colleagues, wants to bring forward some best practices they've seen from other districts or other districts that are doing similar kind of work, that we don't need to recreate the wheel. If there's a successful program or committee like this elsewhere, maybe bring that
Is
to
Jason here?
the workshop.
Yes.
Yep. He's back there.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to see. So when I went to school board training with MSBA, they broke us up in these groups, and I was with the retired athletic director of Cambridge and was the football coach forever. And he told us that when he went to Ohio State, that I think it was 24% of people that went to college in 1976 went to school to be a teacher. Might have been 21%. I could be off, but now it's down to 4%. And so the questions I have, which John, you're on it, but the question is that I'm not sure we need a committee as much as, because we are the committee, like we put this on our workshops, but why? Why are people leaving the profession? You know, Tim said it right tonight. Nobody went to be a teacher to be the richest person in the county. Everybody knew what they were signing up for, but it used to be honorable. They had some power. Administration backed people up. Parents didn't have access to go attack these teachers. In the stories I've heard, no one was getting spit at, swore at. There were consequences for actions. And somehow I think we've drifted off course, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I would think as big of a group of people as teachers are, there's been studies done on this. There's data out there that's going to tell us why people don't want to be teachers and why they're leaving the profession. You know, and some of them, of course, don't forget when you talk about your 8%. Some of them might have just moved. You know, it's not always that they're leaving the profession, but they're leaving us. So there's a little bit of floating around, but I think that you could find it. You know, it's a pretty good resource that I've been paying attention to is that SB School Board AE. They got some pretty interesting stuff, like the 74. I've sent you some articles out of there, John. They're kind of a apolitical thing just about school boards and education and what's going on. And it's fun to see this curriculum come out. And I think that maybe the next step is to kind of, if you watch how things go, is it's like we're too far this way, so then it seems like the pendulum swings and you end up too far the other way. And maybe if it came back to the middle, kind of like the reading, you know, we went from all phonics to everybody's the same to no phonics, and now we're kind of coming back to the middle. Maybe it's the same thing with behavior and pay and respect for these educators, because from what I've heard, it's not the funnest thing anymore.
Come into our schools and see what it's like. Yeah.
I've been in them.
Really? When?
Who, me?
Anybody.
Sorry, you guys. No, you're in a public meeting right now.
TJ, go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
I was a no vote on this, and let me explain why. It has nothing to do with recruitment and retention. There aren't consequences for behavior. You're never going to be able to recruit and retain teachers. Simple. I mean, this is not rocket science. Now, when I went to school, and I was about 1 million years ago. But when I got in trouble at school, I didn't have to worry about what I got in trouble in school for. I was worried about what was going to happen when I got home. A lot of things have changed. But if we don't start backing the teachers and supporting them, we can have all the recruitment and retention plans we want. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna, hopefully it would make some difference, but I don't think it will, because it is an honorable profession and it should be returned to that. And consequences have kind of gone by the wayside. I mean, I don't know, I'd probably be in jail if I was a teacher.
I would too.
I'm just being honest with you. Teachers, you guys have so much pay. I mean, I was at Baxter for opening day, and some of those kids were just mortified for their first day at school. And the way the staff at Baxter handled those young kids, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I also think this kind of lends itself kind of towards a management issue where the board tries to stay out of management issues, but I think we can cross over in this case and talk a little bit about management. But it's got, I mean, the board, we're the furthest ones away from the issues that happen in the classroom. And what we need is we need teachers to tell us the honest truth without retribution. What's going on? What can help? What can we do? That's where I'm at with this whole issue. Now, we already have a committee. We have a personnel committee. I don't know, John, if we need another committee, but I certainly think let's talk about it in a workshop. And let's talk about it in personnel committee as well. So thank you for bringing it up. And it needs to be addressed. There's no question about it.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate both, Madam Chair, I appreciate both Randy and DJ's comments. I agree with them. The profession, just like has been said, needs to have the respect and admiration and promoting and honoring, appreciation, support brought back to them. And that's why I'm suggesting that, somehow we form a committee or we do it in a personnel committee or whatever, Randy. I agree with you and DJ also on that. But DJ, you said we are the committee. My idea of a committee is not the six of us. My idea of a committee is some educators, some TAs, some administration, some board, some community people, some students. That's the idea of my ad hoc committee. Just like you said, Randy, get back feedback and suggestions from those that are boots on the ground. And I'm all for it. Let's continue this dialogue in a work session and see what we can do with it.
Here's the question, John, and maybe it's a question for Jason. And Jason, you don't need to come up here, but I'll give you an analogy. Call up a travel agent. Some of you aren't old enough to know what a travel agent is, but we used to have these people that actually got you your plane tickets. All right. Call up your travel agent and tell them you want a ticket to Dallas. What's the first thing they're going to ask you? Where are you? And you just tell them, I don't know where I am. Just get me a ticket to Dallas. And they're going to say, where are you? And so where we've got to start, John, with what you're talking about is we need to know where we are. And Jason, I got to imagine there's information out there. I'm just a dumb car salesman, but we know that you think it takes too long to buy a car. I can read all these articles all day long. That's what I do. Is like, why is this happening? Why are people not coming to our service? How can we get more people to come to us, right? And it's got to be the same thing in education, as big a business as it is. There's got to be studies that have been done at this college or that college or people. We don't need to set up our own little committee. It's amazing. If you saw why people do things, why they buy, why they leave their jobs, from what your brain would tell you to what it really is, are so far apart. I study all the stuff. We're survey nuts in my world, this retail world. And so anyways, it's nice to know where you are to try to figure out, where you want to end up, but if you don't know where to start, you're kind of just treading water. So I think we should really dig in and try to find some stuff. I'll try to dig around a little bit and see if I can find something too. Why people are leaving. Good stuff.
Can we just have it? And part of one of you, or maybe both of you talked about, one of the situations is, and we heard that at the podium tonight too, the environment and behavior problems within the classroom setting and the size of the classroom setting. We heard that tonight also, and that's significant. And can we just agree that we will continue this discussion in work sessions later on?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Are you good with that, Michelle?
Yes, yes, I am.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Thank
can
you.
already, I'm just gonna say one more thing. So I have a girlfriend whose son is going to St. Thomas. He started in a class of 24. That's all they had in their class for teachers. They're down to 12. They went and did student teaching around the Minneapolis area. It was awful. They were getting yelled at, swore at. She goes, half the kids left, and her son is now gonna be a firefighter, not a teacher.
Really?
Yes. So now St. Thomas is down to 12.
All right.
So, yeah, it's
Let's go
not good.
legislative.
Yep.
All right, so our next work session, I believe, is April 8th. So we'll put that, or workshop.
Or work session,
Yeah,
whatever you
we'll
want.
put that as an agenda item.
Retreat.
Retreat,
Thank you.
whatever we call it.
Party.
Thank you. All right, the next item was legislative action discussion.
And thank you for allowing me to bring this up as well. This is a bonding year. It's a short session. The session is done on May 18th. The bill deadlines are coming up. Superintendent Grant, thank you for your very good idea of trying to get construction money moved into the general fund money, which takes legislative action and the support of the local school board. And I visited today with, the revisor's office down at the Capitol. And I know that, our representative has said that, he was gonna get that jacketed and introduced, but it hasn't been yet. So, Superintendent Grant, if you could communicate and see where that is, that would be great. But I wanted to talk to not only us as board members or the administration or educators, but all of the community. You know, and we've heard tonight about the education field in general. People, as Director Ederman said, kids aren't going into it, and you know, for a number of reasons. And we have discipline problems, and we have class size. You know, we've got a lot of problems. But I believe that we can right the ship. I really do believe that we can right the ship. But it takes advocacy. It takes lobbying. It takes communicating. It takes talking to our leadership in the legislature to ask for certain things. You know, I want to make sure that I hope Teresa's there because Teresa, as we put this as you maybe put this in the paper, you know, I'm guessing that some of the people don't even know what Senate district we are in. We're in Senate District 6 and we're in House District 6A and 6B. And, you know, I'm guessing that people don't even know how to email our legislative folks. And in the House, it'd be like rep.john.ward
You
at
can look them up, John.
house.min.gov. Yeah, I know. You can Google it, right? I
It's
understand
not
that.
that hard.
But I'm saying, I understand, DJ. The policy deadline is coming up on March 27th. The finance deadline is coming up on April 17th. And there's two bills that I wanted, besides the construction funds, Superintendent Grant. There's also the seasonal rec bill, which has a lot of support this year, you guys, in the Senate. It has not as much support. I was on MREA, Minnesota Rural Education Association legislative update this morning, and there's not as much support for that. That will really help in a rural Greater Minnesota operating levy request. And so I'm going to encourage and ask, you know, everybody in the community, not only in Brainerd and Baxter, but statewide, to get involved and to reach out to their legislators and ask for support. The House file for the seasonal rec is HF 1161. And yeah, DJ, you can look that up, but I bet you didn't know it, for crying out loud. And the Senate file is 1197. And I'm just kidding you, DJ, but it's important. This stuff is important, folks, that we advocate and lobby. Our kids are dependent on us. Our kids are dependent on us, just like the previous generations have depended, you know, giving to their kids as well. So, Madam Chair, thank you for allowing me to rant and rave a little bit, but the session is short, and we need to get done what we can get done. So, thank you.
I do have a response. John, you listening? Okay,
Of
today.
course.
Okay. Today, Representative Heitzman told me that House File number 4306 was read for the first time, which is for the District 181 fund transfer. And it was.
Awesome. Thank you.
And it was referred to the Committee on Education Finance.
That's wonderful. Did you all get that? House File 4306.
Wrote it down.
Email them and ask for their support. House File 4306. Let's go. Get it done. Thank you, Superintendent Grant.
All right, thank you, Director Ward.
I'm calm, Randy. I'm staying calm, Randy.
Not bad, John. Good job, buddy.
All right,
Thank you.
we are going to move on to what is now number 5 on our new business for action, and that is stuff that we took off the consent calendar.
So I'd like to make a motion. Is this how we should do this? I'd like to make a
Yes.
motion that we accept this policy as it's written, except I think we should get rid of in
Oh, wait a second.
What policy are we
712.
referring to?
712 is the next one.
We're doing the HVAC first. Sorry.
Well, let's do the HVAC.
Sorry
then.
about that.
Hot dog. I didn't put the HVAC on there.
All right, so we've got the Harrison roof replacement, the BHS A-wing ballasted roof, and the BHS old white coated APDM roof, and the Riverside HVAC project.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to come here and discuss the projects. What questions can I answer?
Well, for me, Jeff, the biggest thing is just bringing this out into the public.
Sure.
And saying that these dollars aren't coming from general revenue. They're coming from long-term maintenance. And so it's not going to affect anything as far as the general revenue is concerned.
Correct.
With our school district.
Yep. Every project we do that's repair, replacement, all comes from the long-term facilities maintenance budget. And we're able to take care of roofing projects, HVAC projects that didn't get taken care of during the referendum. So we're very lucky to have the funding to do it.
All right.
I think that, I kind of asked for these to be pulled, Jeff, not because I'm trying to bust your chops.
No.
But I do think that this is $1,160,000 for all these 4 projects. And I think that the public deserves to know how we're paying for it, especially like John wants to get a referendum through. Guys like me just read this stuff and are like, they just spend money like it's going out of style, right? How are they supposed to know that you're spending this LTFM money, spend it or lose it? And then I don't think it would hurt when you start to do the projects like the high schools or Riverside is $718,000 that you explained to us that the HVAC is shot and it was put in 1998 and it's really, they've been limping it along for the last 5 years and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just kind of sell it a little bit so that, I just don't feel like, and Peter, Sarah, that's one of the reasons I want to be the chairman, is I don't think that should be a consent agenda item. Consent agendas are the stuff that you have every single meeting that are simple deals. And I've learned in this week, or last week, that the county board does this kind of stuff, puts all this spending in their consent agenda. But I think a consent agenda is like, it's the checkbook register, it's this, it's that, it's the stuff we have at every single meeting. It's always sort of the same, it's always different, but it's kind of the same 5 things. And all of a sudden now we've got 20 policies in there, we've got $1,160,000 and 160,000 in spending. And it's like, I just think that, just like Randy said, I think that public should know that, hey, we need to spend this money and we're being prudent with their tax dollars.
Yeah, that's fair. I can even have vendors come in here and give presentations to you if you would like that, or if you would just like a brief synopsis of the projects, I can do that as well. So,
But we
That might be
already,
too deep
we
for
already
us,
have a committee on LTFM, don't we?
okay.
We used to, and we used to give reports.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Are you on LTFM still?
No, are you?
No. Used to be, Jeff got rid of me. I don't know. Peter said I couldn't be on it anymore.
What's that?
Me?
You and Jeff threw me off the
I'm not allowed to
LTFM deal.
discuss things about that, so. No, I would appreciate like any input that you guys can give for any of these projects. A lot of times I kind of just feel like we're out there just trying to, we're doing the best we can for the students and for the teachers and everything like that, and that's the main goal we have in our department, and any input you guys can give would be very much appreciated, so.
Jeff, is there a committee right now that you report to regarding?
Facilities.
Yeah, facilities.
April 16th is our.
April
Yeah.
16th is our next meeting, and we
So
can,
we, I feel like
Ah.
we get,
This is where.
that's a
we-
good place to do your presentations or
I
whatever.
don't know if it was our last facilities committee or the previous one before that, but Jeff talked about the things that he had on the schedule, including the football field being replacement and so forth. All of that money comes through LTFM, and then the projects are sent to the state for approval first, and then you approve them. If the state doesn't approve it, you're
Doesn't come
wasting
to
your
us,
time.
yeah.
yeah, and we were doing these at the the facilities committee meetings prior to the new superintendent being hired and all that, when the focus shifted, and we just haven't had a chance to
Yeah.
address some of these at the committee meetings, but.
Well,
We can do that, or we can do this. I'm more than happy to do.
would you feel comfortable just giving us a 2-minute rundown on the Harrison roof and
So the Harrison roof, it's. I
not
couldn't-
on each one, just the
Yeah,
whole.
I couldn't give you how many years old it is, but we've had leaks since prior to the referendum being done. Luckily, our team at Thielen has been able to fix these leaks, and this year we have the money to replace the roof, so that's what we're gonna do.
Cool.
Same thing with the high school. These roofs are, way too old to be on there, and we're lucky we haven't had worse problems with them, and finally we're able to repair these. The Riverside HVAC, Jill can speak to this. We've been struggling with it for 3 years. We've been running on one compressor for the music area and the teaching wings for the last 3 years. And it's been every year when the spring rolls around, I'm happy because I get to golf, but then I'm not happy because I get to hear about a lot of teachers being hot. It just doesn't work. So finally, we're able to get this done and we're gonna do it the right way, so.
What percent of the roof, is the whole high school roof old? Or did a lot of it get new when they remodeled?
If, I shared in that packet that I sent, there was the roof inspection.
I
that was
saw
done.
it, it's just all different colors. I was
Yeah,
like,
so it's got all the different colors and it's got by, it's kind of like green, red, yellow, what needs to go first and what needs to go kind of in the order. And I couldn't give you we're in pretty good shape on most of our roofs. Forest View is the one that's gonna be coming up next because none of the roofs have been replaced and it's coming in on 25 years old. So we're gonna start doing replacements on that facility coming up the next summer.
cool.
Yeah, just hitting the worst ones first and kind of catching up, and that's the goal.
I know you'd
Just get
mentioned
into a pattern.
Yeah, I know you had mentioned something about Forest View, so that's on the agenda for next summer.
Yep, cool, yeah.
Yep. I think it's just more informational
Yeah.
than anything else, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
not,
more
We
than
need to vote on it though,
oh, I know that.
because we pulled it.
Correct. But the reason we pulled it was just more informational. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not gonna
Micromanaging.
not vote it.
No,
I
believe
just
me,
think
I'm more,
it's a lot of
and
money.
I appreciate being able to let people know what we're doing and
no, it's
letting
great.
them know how it's funded, so
It's
I appreciate
great.
it.
It's nice that we don't have to take it out of general revenue.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it.
That's
No, we
nice.
wouldn't.
That's why we haven't done it for
Yeah.
We
50
just
years.
get more pails.
Garbage can, yep, coming on weekends.
Water
clean up
trip,
messes.
it'd be all right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve them, the 4 of them.
I'll second that.
All right, we've got a motion by Director Dondelinger and a second by Director Heidman. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Let's go. Randy Heidman,
Yes.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
John Brecken,
Yes.
TJ Donnelly.
Yes,
Stephanie Edelman.
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you for your time.
thanks,
Good
Jeff.
job.
All right, up next, we have policy number 602.
Oh, shit, wrong order.
Is that the right one?
It's fine, any difference.
6:02. Okay.
Yes, the organization of the school calendar and school day.
I think the biggest issue, and this may have to go back to committee, for you guys to talk more about it, but, can't remember how long ago we voted on e-learning days, and we weren't gonna use e-learning days at all for snow days.
It's been a year, it's been a couple, before
been at
Stephanie got
least-
on the board.
I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
remember.
Don't know.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. And it now appears that there's some second thoughts about doing that, maybe?
What are you asking?
Well, we voted not to have e-learning days
We
anymore,
voted
and
not
now
to
we've got a
have-
policy with a whole section of e-learning days. I don't understand.
So are you asking that it should be reinstated?
No, what I'm asking is it sounds like some people want to reinstate and use e-learning days when we have a snow day, so we're not closed down. That's what we're trying to do, right?
Well, it depends on your
Or-
interpretation, but
Okay,
what it was saying is that e-learning day is a school day where a school offers full access to online instruction provided by students, individual teachers, except during inclement weather. And luckily, we didn't have to use it today, but in order to keep things under control, I think you should go back and allow that as an opportunity.
to use e-learning days.
Yes. Because otherwise, the last thing we want to do is add days in June. And if we had taken today off, April 6th would have been the next day. And me personally, I would never add a day at the end of the year. It's not good for students, not good for parents. It certainly isn't going to be good for staff. So if you want to try and keep the flow of education not being interrupted, that'd be the advantage of an E-day, but everybody's got to have their act together to make sure they're prepared for it. There's the difficulty. Right now, we don't have it as an access because it's not allowed.
if I'm remembering, didn't we do like a staff survey and community survey and,
Parent survey,
yeah, a parent
student
survey?
survey.
And
No one liked it.
nobody liked it.
The problem was, earlier, it's because it was under COVID. This would be an exception to the norm. I mean, how many snow days do you usually get? 2 or 3 a year? That's the only times you would use it. It isn't something you would want to utilize just because you wanted to take a week of E-days.
I think wasn't the part of the problem is that many families didn't have access to the internet and/or it was very difficult for families to help
Grandparents were trying to deal with the kids.
do their work that day and.
Don't we think that, I mean, here we go, but don't we think we're gonna end up getting out of these Chromebooks anyways? I mean, the whole world is ditching them. All this, all these countries are outlawing it for the little kids. So then what do we do with them? Then, it's like,
Let me ask you this question, Peter. And it all goes back to the kids for me. We want to improve proficiencies and outcomes. So do we get that with an E-day? Which a lot of studies have shown, probably not a lot. And at the end of the year, where probably sometimes people have kind of tuned out a little bit towards the end, you get down into May, the first part of June, and I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't see the difference.
Well,
to me,
I see a great difference because at the end of the year, it's a waste of time. At least during the middle of the year, winter, you can at least accumulate some, I would think, valuable learning still.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how many of when you go to college, a lot of people are doing, e-learning. Granted, it can't be maybe for K-12, but it can be for certain levels. I'm not saying blanket it across the district, but when you're in Minnesota, what are you gonna do when you have 4 or 5 snow days?
Well, maybe we have to take a look at the calendar.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
That's why I think it has to go back to
But it's
committee.
unpredictable.
Right,
Yeah.
and I
Here's my
think
point.
I misinterpreted this because I was thinking it was for staff if we were to call a snow day, that they would still report virtually as an E-day or whatever that is. But I do think, for example, if we have 5, or how many snow days do we have built into the calendar right now? 2 snow days?
Kind of, yeah.
And then you're out of snow days, then what do you do?
I mean, really, technically, a snow day is more based on labor costs than student learning. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Because you have to figure out, EAs, for example, if they don't work, they don't get paid. Okay?
But they'll make it up at the end of the.
If it's feasible.
Yeah.
If it's feasible, yeah.
I understand.
So, and sometimes it puts a certain group of employees in a tough spot, because if we had a couple of days back to back, it cuts their pay check off in the middle of a week or middle of the month. So then how do you catch up? And they have to figure out, how am I gonna catch up with 2 days less pay? And it just becomes a headache, yeah.
So
Not easy.
So it's being rethought, because I know, Michelle, you're correct.
Yeah.
We did a survey. Do we want to, do we want to do another quick? Well, I'm going to just say, hey, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to refer this back, in my opinion, refer it back to a committee and let you guys talk about it in policy.
We'll figure it out.
Because we could sit here until the cows come home and we ain't going to decide anything tonight.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
perfect.
I like that.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on then to, this would be action item number 7 and policy 712.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I make a motion that we accept this policy as written, and we just need to remove the word normally. And it's in section 2 of the general statement. Number 3, it says video recording will normally not be used in bathrooms or locker rooms. Although these areas may be monitored by individuals of the same sex as the occupants of the bathrooms or locker rooms, which is fine. Why would we even say that we will not normally have recordings in bathrooms or locker rooms? I don't see why we want the liability. Let's just say we're not gonna record them. So we just take the word normally out and we can approve this policy as written. Does that make sense? Is that a good motion or?
That's a long motion.
Well, you don't have to put the part I read. I just wanted to clear everybody out there that doesn't know what it says. I just don't know why we'd want to be like, well, we don't normally put cameras in bathrooms. I don't think we should leave ourselves open for that.
Okay, we've got a motion, thank you, on the floor to accept the policy by removing the word normally. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We've got a motion by Director Dondelinger and a second by Director Edelman. Any further discussion?
I have a couple things. Sorry. Is this Ryan? Is this your department?
Sure.
Okay, where do we keep the videos? I mean, I know they're not on VHS tapes and you have them. But are they in the cloud?
No, they're stored locally, yeah.
So who has access to them?
District admin can see the cameras and review footage. The only people that can pull footage are myself and Jeff, basically. Because we don't allow footage to go out.
So admin, that's principals, vice principals, superintendents,
Yep.
Jason, Marcy.
Mostly the building principals can view and record and look at incidents.
Like how many people are we talking about? 50, 30?
Less than 50, yeah, probably 30-ish.
How long do we keep these videos?
It's usually between 60 to 90 days. But
Does it automatically get purged?
Yeah, it gets rolled over after it runs out of space. But what we normally will do is if there's an incident, we do what's called bookmarking it, and then that saves it indefinitely. And then if we have to, we can pull it down and put it in the cloud if it's a lawsuit case or something like that.
Do we audit ourselves on this to make sure we're doing it right? I see it says that we follow the Minnesota storage rules in here. I mean, is there
The
anybody?
storage rules are very loose. I think it's like 10 days or something.
I just worry that we've got videos of young kids and then how accessible are they? I just want to make, I mean, people's passwords getting changed every 30 days, all that kind of crazy stuff going
The
on.
only people that can actually, the people that can even view recorded footage is very limited to mostly just principals.
Do you see it when they get in there?
I can see it, yeah.
So,
And
I mean, when they go in, you know that, oh, Michelle was in there looking at.
I can look at log files and see who was logged in and stuff like that if it's ever needed, yes. But as far as actually pulling video off of our system and sending it and removing it, it's just Jeff and I.
Okay, well, I think it's just important that, we have a little liability there. We gotta make sure we're
Try to be as cautious as we
pretty
can.
prudent on that and stay on top of it. I would think. I mean, they're kids. And the adults.
So I just have a question. Is there a reason why we had video recording will normally not be used in bathrooms? Was there?
There are no videos in bathrooms.
Yeah, but was there a reason why?
MSBA probably did it.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's what the problem is.
I just
I'm sure it's
wanted to
MSBA.
know. Yeah,
Oh, it was
okay.
MSBA language. Yeah, because I
But if
thought
we just remove that word.
I didn't know if there were exceptions.
Because I know our cell phone policy strictly prohibits anything in the locker room or
Yeah,
bathrooms.
I'm totally great with it. I just was curious why it was in there to begin with.
Good.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Sarah Spear,
Yes.
John Ward,
Yes.
Al Brecken.
Yes.
Deja Donnelly.
Yes.
Stephanie Edelman,
Yes.
Randy Heisman.
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, we've got a couple of committee meeting updates. The first on our list is the Curriculum Instruction and Staff Development Committee that met February 19th. Director Heidman chairs that committee.
We discussed professional development sessions and the fact that I guess there was a positive response rate of over 80%. Focused on some continuing education credits for a relicensure. We also reviewed the comprehensive arts planning program, focusing on visual and media arts, and we're going to develop a 3-year strategic plan in that area. We discussed a little bit about the new social studies curriculum, shifting towards inquiry-based learning and ethnic studies. I think there's going to be a lot more to come on that, just discussion. And then we talked about professional development plans for next year, including some mental health first aid issues, AI integration, and data management training. And there's a
preliminary work on staff development plan and in-service schedule already for 26-27. And our next meeting is May 21st. End of report.
Great. Next report is the Policy and Community Relations Committee that met on February 26th, and I can give a quick update on that. All the policies that you saw here today were discussed at that meeting. And the one other thing I would add is Anne Marie provided an update for us on the strategic planning that was happening with the Gitche-Zibi. And there's a small group that's working on looking at management structure for that and or kind of a strategic plan to put together to figure out how we make that a model that is more community-based and managed in a way that makes it financially solvent. So
when can we expect that to happen?
So there is a draft that exists
Okay.
of that plan and proposal, and so they're finalizing what that looks like, and they would like to bring it to this team at some point.
Okay.
Are we gonna see it before a board meeting?
It's up to us how we want to see it. I would prefer a work session, then
I think so too.
then you've got time to.
Was there any discussion, I thought at one point, there was a discussion about even maybe turning it into a nonprofit, a 501c3, just a possibility.
Yeah, that's
I
one of
mean,
the
it's
possibilities
on the table
for a management model.
for management person, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's really some exciting conversations happening there that I think
That's a
we'll
good
all be
idea.
excited
Yeah.
about. And let's see, what else? We talked a little bit about facility use policies and some of the things that they're seeing come across the table there. That was about it. Our next meeting is TBD, or April 30th? Okay.
23rd.
23rd, 23rd, April 23rd. And that may change. We've had some discussion about some conflicts on that date, so more to come. All right, informational, the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation, Dr. Edelman.
Okay. The Brainerd Public Schools Foundation scholarship applications close tomorrow. Students only need to fill out one application to be in the running for over 100 scholarships. Last year, BPSF awarded over $220,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors. Despite increasing our scholarship marketing, we have less applicants submitted than usual. So if you know any seniors, tell them to start filling out those forms. It has to be in by tomorrow.
Call them up tonight.
Call them up tonight. Okay. So, Brainerd Public School Foundation had another gold medal big event. The Olympic theme fundraiser, combined with the Warrior Club sponsors, has brought in over $80,000 in support of our mission. A huge thank you to all supporters, attendees, donors, and auction winners. BPSF will begin collecting gently used Warrior wear at each school in April for our annual Warrior Worn initiative. New this year, please do not donate customized gear. These items do not sell well.
What kind of gear?
What kind of gear?
Customized, like if you have your name on it.
Oh,
No,
sure.
you know what I mean?
Sure, got it, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, please donate with dignity. Items should be free of stains, holes, and in good condition. Money raised from this initiative supports our school pantries. Nearly $8,000 has been awarded to our school pantries in 2025 and 2026 through the fundraising. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, that's great. All right,
You know
safe
what?
and,
I just cleaned out my daughter's closet. She must have, I'm not kidding you, 30 stuff with Warrior gear.
Yeah, they don't want antiques. They want newer stuff.
It's good stuff. It's not antiques.
They've changed the logo since then. You can't have the feathers. Knock
Hasn't
it
been
off.
that long.
all right, the Safe and Welcoming Schools Committee and the Wellness Task Force
Okay,
update.
so on the Safe and Welcoming Schools Committee, two key members of our community put together a slide presentation to be shared with principals about perspective taking. And the Wellness Task Force, Smiles for Jake, in partnership with Forest View, is supporting a peer-to-peer student-led club called the Smile Club. The purpose of this club is to build leadership skills, empathy, and a sense of belonging while strengthening connections with peers, school staff, and the broader community. Students participating will help plan and lead positive, inclusive activities and events within the school. Our committee also has a small grant, and we are in conversation with 512 administrators to determine a wellness plan for their respective buildings, and then the elementary schools will be included in this discussion next. So that's that.
Great.
Thank you. All right, business services report, Director Lord.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. In your packet is the financial report. I want to note the building construction and debt services will be increased with the budget revision. Right now it shows that they're over just because of the debt refunding that we had in the debt service fund, and then building construction, we did have some more activity than what we had anticipated. Last month, building construction, just following up that, you guys got the information of what that was spent on, wondering if there was any questions. And then this month there is activity, and I was just gonna note, server room, the UPS, Red House demo, and furniture were what was spent this month. or
What's the Red House
January.
demo?
What's that?
What's Red House demo?
So we had 2 red houses over by Riverside.
Yeah.
And the one got demoed. The other one is still up and.
What are we doing with that again?
We would like to get that up for sale.
Okay.
I did reach out to our realtor, and he did say that to have it moved, it would be approximately, I believe, 75,000. And it'd be very limited on where you could go. So that'll be a discussion for our committee of,
Okay.
are we gonna put it up for sale? We definitely can.
Okay.
I have one thing for you.
Yeah.
Is there any way, like for the, maybe I'm way off base, so just straighten me out. You always do. So, the building construction fund.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a balance?
Like what the cash balance is?
Yeah, because we're talking about moving this money around. It'd be like nice to know how much we actually have in there.
Yeah.
You see how much we're spending compared to the budget?
Yep.
But it'd be just kind of fun to have a balance in it. And then the post-employment benefits one too, because that thing's got a lot of money in it. I'd just be curious to see if it's holding its own, you know what I mean? So, that's it.
Yeah. Do you want historical or just like the last 12 months?
Well, I just mean when you guys you give this to us every month.
Mhm.
So basically what it shows is that Marcy did a good job on the budget because she's right on. Next month, all these numbers are gonna go up because it's gonna be another month.
Yep.
So in theory, they should go up like, what, 8% or something like that, 8.5? I'd just be curious to see, like, on some of these ones that we're spending down, like, the general fund, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter because, then that's different.
Yep.
But these ones that we only get one time,
Yep.
so I'd like to just see where they are.
Yep. I can add that.
Thanks.
And then also in your report is the enrollment report. So from the beginning of the year, we are down 130. I don't even like to say that out loud. That is high. And looking at the 5-year average, it's around 84. So we are, again, with the budget revision, we'll look at the October 1 count and then get that in there, but it is a lot. And then you guys had asked for a budget update. Just wanted to let you know we did, since the last board meeting, update the gen ed up 2.69% and then remove the compensatory. We removed BHS activity fees. We had in there 10%. We're not doing that. And then Brainerd Online School class sizes, we removed that because we're not doing that. So we're at about a $2.4 million deficit right now.
It's better than 3.6. I have a question, Peter.
Yes.
We lost 50 students from January 5th to February 2nd. So is that normal? Did they come back from Christmas or something like that, or it's winter?
Well, it's the end of
it's a
semester,
lot.
so I'm assuming some of them may have gone to CLC or graduated early.
Oh, I figured you'd know.
What grades?
Well, we could break it down, they're here. But if you look at these, we had 55-23, then we went down to 54-83.
Yeah, 20.
And we've had a lot of kids move on.
23 of them were at high school.
It's mainly high school. There's not really anything happening in the little kids.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, one of the problems with the high schools is if a kid wants to go online and there's no room, they leave and they find online someplace else. Therein lies our problem with that.
Class-
Because we max out.
I also feel like there's a lot of students at Forest View that go online. You know, I don't know how many, but I think it's.
Well, we don't sponsor that yet.
Right, but I'm hoping that we're continuing that discussion.
And there's our challenge. Can we do more online to keep them versus being maxed out? And we go, well, we can't help you. And they go, well, fine, I'll go someplace else.
We lost 12 seniors, so it's, a quarter of the 50. Well, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Marcy. We have one more report left.
You do?
Yes.
You cut me quick.
Oh, you already had your deal your day in the
Superintendent's
sun.
report.
I'll keep this brief. First and foremost, thank God the weather people were wrong. I think the last 4 days going into break, the snow depths were going from 5 inches to 15 to 5 inches to 17. And I'm glad all 17 went south and we just got a few. So, because if we had to call off today, we'd be in a pickle. The other thing is that it was brought up about, John, I think maybe brought it up, about a levy. You have a new superintendent starting technically July 1st. The transition is going to get started, but if you're going to make a decision on the levy, yes or no, you better do it April or May, because otherwise it's too late. You can't expect a new superintendent to come in on July 1st and hit the road running for a levy. You got to get it started before that, because Chip is going to have more than enough going on. If he's got to start that from scratch, I think you put him in a bad spot. So you're going to have to make your decision on that. And the last thing is, now that spring break is done, talking to a couple of principals today, we have basically 10 weeks left of school. And the next thing you know, we'll be done with MCAs. So it's going to go really, really fast. And what we have to try to do is go slow to go fast, so to speak. We got a lot of things to get done. When we get through the fast bridge, and then we get into MCAs and so forth, things are going to happen quickly. And for the board, I know Chip and I have talked about this, you're going to have to start finding time to sit down and talk with him so that when he starts, he's got his feet fairly solid on the ground so he can be successful. And the relationship you build with him now is what's going to help him get started in July. So I know Kelly's going to work on that with Chip, but I really, really encourage you to figure out, you got to spend some time with him, whether it's one-on-one or 2-on-2, whatever it's going to be, so that you guys got to get to know each other. Because when July 1st comes, it's going to be riding a rocket for him. So that'd be all.
Question, Superintendent? Okay, the operating levy,
Yes.
won't that be part of our discussion during the transition plan with him as far as his thoughts and
Sure.
things like that? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to just dump it on him. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you. There are some meeting dates there. Other than that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Director Edelman, a second by Director Dondelinger. I'm assuming no discussion. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
John Ward?
Yes.
Brecken?
Yes.
BJ Donnelly?
Yes.
Stephanie Ederman?
Yes.
Randy Heidman?
Yeah.
Sarah Spear?
Yes.